Welcome to the podcast.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Barbells and Trails podcast with our hosts, me and Noah.
Hi, how are you guys doing?
How is everybody? I wish it would be kind of cool to do live, but I
It
guess
would be
we
pretty cool.
can't really do that.
Yeah.
So this week I started a new book.
Ooh, what book?
Can't Hurt Me.
Oh, by David Goggins.
Mm-hmm. I started listening to the audiobook, and because I like Audible, and honestly at times it's really nice just to be able to listen to a book instead of having to physically read it. So I bought some extra credits for Audible, whatever else, and I got it when it was on sale because I could get like 2 books for one, and that was one of them. So I started it this week. I don't know how far in I am, but holy crap. Like, this dude's, like, I knew about him or who he was a little bit, but, like, his, like, life story, his childhood story, I did not expect that by any means. The only stuff I had seen, I guess, at this point was some stuff with him, I think. No, I don't think I've actually ever seen him on Rogan. I just know that he's been talked about. I've seen posts of him on Instagram. I knew that, like, he used to be really overweight and lost a bunch of weight and ended up in the SEALs and that stuff. And now he, like, runs and he's, like, ridiculous when it comes to, like, ultra marathons and
crazy athlete
and stuff like that. But, like, other than that, I didn't have a whole lot of information on who he was. But holy crap. Like, I'm not even that far into the book, and I would recommend it to anyone.
I have like David. I like parts of David Goggins' story. Like, he's a very motivational dude. Like, I don't agree with everything that he has said, but his story is crazy.
Like what, I guess. I mean, I haven't read the whole thing. I know that,
Like,
to some people he's definitely what's the word?
hero.
Well, that, but like with some of the stuff he says, I know some people just don't like the shit he says.
Yeah, like, he can be very I don't know how to say it, but like, he can be very full of himself in one way or another. And
Yeah. No,
I've
I
heard
can agree with that.
of like some stories. Like, he always says how he was a Navy SEAL, and he was, and that takes a lot to become that, and he had to go through a lot than the average person to become a Navy SEAL. But
Mm-hmm.
there's been a lot of stories and rumors from other Navy SEALs that they talk about how he would, while he was in the teams, he would say no. He wouldn't go on like missions. Um, I don't exactly know why, but he would just refuse to go on a couple missions that were really important, and so like that kind of stuff makes me like not respect him as much, but his determination, and his like willingness to like try to inspire others, that I respect.
Yeah, no, true. I was gonna say I haven't heard that stuff. I haven't heard any of those stories so far. The book, he hasn't even necessarily talked about the SEALs yet, and whatever else. But
Yeah, that's another thing. He just kind of talks about boot camp and like Hell Week, and yes, that stuff is hard. But every Navy SEAL, I can't say every Navy SEAL, but
mhm.
a majority of the Navy SEALs out there, kind of is like boot camp is just kind of like, it's just like a little snippet of what it's like to be a Navy SEAL. And I mean, I'm not a Navy SEAL, so
Yeah.
maybe I'm just talking out my butt. But
I, I mean, I don't know. For what I've heard, even from some accounts of Navy SEALs, I feel like most of them say that, and even I think it's even, well, no, because it doesn't compare to even regular basic training by any standards, because it's just
mhm,
on such an extreme. But for what I've heard, stuff like that, Navy SEAL training or any special forces training like that, when it is like something like Hell Week, for what I've heard and from accounts from people that's been through it, it seems like no matter what they've said, that is the hardest thing that they've done, is the determination and mental challenge to get through it psychologically and get through all of the training.
mhm,
Just to deal with that alone is probably the hardest. Well, just because it's just so much, and they basically do everything to possibly break you because they don't want anyone weak in this. Obviously, like it mentally, physically, like mentally probably more than physically when it comes down to it. And that's what the whole reason like the challenges are. Like it shocks your body, it shocks your system.
mhm.
No sleep, extreme conditions, extreme cold, like this and that. Um like last week I listened to a podcast with an old SAS officer from the British. I think
Mm.
that's what it is. So basically, like their special service or forces
Yeah.
or whatever. And he was saying some of the stuff they had to do, and at one point they ended up in like an interrogation thing. Like they did training for so long in a jungle, and as part of their like basics for that to like basically weed people out, and then they did like an interrogation on them, like a simulation, but at the same time they would keep them up for like 3 days. They
Mhm.
would sit them in stress positions for like 20 hours and question them and do this and that and a bunch of other stuff, and like people would just break. And he's like, that was the hardest thing that I did in it, besides seeing other people, or like besides like people dying around me at times and in certain situations. But he's like, that was the hardest thing, was just trying to get through that kind of stuff, because
Yeah, I mean, it sounds tough. Like it is tough. It sounds tough. It's like and I've never had to go through such an extreme, but I mean, I've gone through. I hope it's not. I'm not. I hope I'm not like trying to brag or saying that I was in the military, because I wasn't. So I have never gone through that kind of training, but I've gone through similar training with the
mm,
endurance events I've done. And what I've heard and witnessed from other people that were in the military and from the endurance events that I've done, it's like when you're in those situations, honestly, all you have to, this is what I heard, all you have to kind of go into with the mindset of this is going to suck, but it's going to be over. Eventually, it's going to be over. And once it's over, I'll be fine. And it's like a hard workout um that you do. You can either quit halfway through and feel like crap about
mm,
yourself, or you can push yourself. But either
yeah,
or, 5 to 10 minutes afterwards, you're going to feel fine.
true.
Now,
And I feel like that,
with with that, like,
yeah.
um, you know, after Hell Week, it's probably going to take a couple days to feel fine.
Well,
But
true.
just saying, like,
Yeah, probably like a full day of sleep.
probably. I
But
would love to do it. It would that would be so much fun. Just like testing, seeing what it's like.
I guess the thing is with it, it's also one thing that would definitely be different. I feel like is in the races, anyone you're around or you're like is with you or nearby or just anybody
Hmm.
involved in it, it's like there's encouragement. So it's like everybody pushing
Yeah.
each other. But it's like if you're in Hell Week or something like that, whoever's in part of that training and whatever. Like they want at one point they do want to see certain people succeed because they want people to get through, and obviously if they see
Hmm.
something in certain people, but at the same time
But
in
they're going
that
to try to
span of
break you.
time, yeah, their time like in that span, their job is to break you so you fail and try your hardest to basically get you out. And
Mm.
and it's when you don't give up is when you succeed and they don't. But that alone is probably so much harder because no matter what, everything's against you for. Because I think it is called Hell Week, but I'm pretty sure it lasts longer than a week, right? I was gonna say I thought it was like 2 at
Oh,
least,
I
but I could be wrong. I think the initial
I
stuff that
used to
everybody
know.
really talks.
I think it's just a week, but don't quote me on that because I might be wrong. Let me do a quick search.
I was gonna say I wasn't sure. I thought that's what it was, but then I still think there's obviously more after that that is still very very intense, but it's not as bad because they like weaned out most of the people during Hell
Well,
Week.
yeah, um, like going through buds. I think that's what they call it, right? Buds. It's like Hell Week is the worst part of it, and then afterwards, it's still hard, but not as
Mm-hmm.
hard. And so I just looked it up. Hell Week is 5.5 days of
Okay.
cold, wet, brutally difficult operational training on fewer than 4 hours of sleep.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, that seems about right. I was gonna say none of that sleep, and I've also like watched some videos on like other countries stuff, and honestly, I think there are times that like I've seen some other country special forces. Like
mm,
I've watched some of it. And I'm like, how the hell? Like, and some of the stuff other countries do is uh, in certain cases, I guess when it comes to some of the physical aspect, is harder than the stuff that they put like seals through. Which I don't know the full extent of what they do, but like
yeah,
the stuff,
exactly.
like I've seen them do like they had a full like 40-hour like operational training, and that's part of like their basic training to wean people out. And I think I can't remember which country it was for, but they would have like thousands upon thousands of people apply and get in because it was like for Navy SEALs you're already fairly like if you even get picked or are allowed into it you're already a top soldier, and then
Yeah,
it's like once you even
the
pass that that's even
qualifications
better.
for it are insane. And so I see this one question: does Hell
Mm.
Week take years off your life? And it's like some say it takes 4 years off your life.
I mean, yeah, that I'm honestly I wouldn't be surprised. but
Like, yeah,
but like so yeah, some of the
all
stuff
right.
I've seen some of like they do like I think it was like thousands that would start, and I think they might have 10 people pass. Like that's how crazy it was.
I
And they
know.
would like do
So cool.
like 30-mile like run, like people end up in the hot like I think in that recording and the video I was watching, I can't even remember what it was on or what country it's for or whatever else, but so many people dropped and ended up in the hospital because of like heat stroke, fatigue,
Hmm.
like everything else. Like because it was also in a I know it might have been Vietnam, but I could be wrong because it was in some like I think Asian country with some jungle atmosphere and whatever else. So like, oh damn, the humidity and the heat on top of everything. Oh yeah, that'd be rough.
That yeah, it'd be.
But I
I
was
don't
gonna
know.
say,
It's
have
just
you,
me, but that would be so much fun. So much. Not during. During it would suck, but afterwards, that'd be awesome.
yeah, true. I
Just
mean
like
I want to
pushing
challenge
yourself to
myself,
that
but
limit, and then like just the reward of like
I
being able
I
to be like,
guess
I'm a Navy SEAL. That would. I mean, that's like still a childhood dream of mine. It's like if someday, if everything can work out, and I would be able to join the military and become a Navy SEAL, I think that would be the cherry on top.
I was gonna say,
Be a
have
pretty
you
cool
read?
book.
You've read his book, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Um. So like the cool thing is about the audiobook is at one point between chapters he comes in and then talks to the reader
Yeah,
or
I heard about that. I was like, oh, I need to get the audiobook.
yeah, so he comes through and he kind of explains some stuff and whatever else. So I'm like I said, I'm not sure how far in I am, but this man's childhood is so fucked up. Like
Very messed up.
his the stuff with his dad and like that whole situation and the abuse and the mental abuse between him and his brother and his mom, and his dad was a criminal and he was like 5 years
Hmm.
old and having to basically run his dad's business, and if he fucked up he would get beat, and basically him, his mom, and his brother basically had to escape, and his brother ended up being so brainwashed that he went back to his dad. like
Yeah, that would I
that
couldn't imagine.
first, even the first like 10 minutes of that book, I was not expecting any of that. Like I was like, wait, what?
Bless me.
Like
Thank
I
you.
was so dumbfounded because I was like, I did not expect that to come about.
Hmm.
And I was just like, oh Jesus. I was like, this is crazy. Like how his dad would get paranoid and at one point pointed a gun at him and whatever else because he heard him walk in
Yeah,
and set off the
it like
alarm.
it makes sense to since David went through all that to see what he's like now. Like a book I would recommend you read after
Mm,
David Goggins' book is Living with a Navy SEAL for 30 Days. Because so this guy, Jesse
mm,
Itzler, hired David Goggins to come live with him for 30 days. And so David Goggins trained Jesse Itzler for 30 days. And like you really get to know what Goggins is excuse me, what Goggins is like in the book. And like
yeah.
Goggins it's kind of insane at times.
I
Like in
bro,
a good
like
way,
he
but
is a
like insane.
crazy guy. And that was one thing in the book like after the first chapter he's like don't listen to this, don't read this and get motivated because that's not what the fuck I want you to do.
Hmm.
And cuz he's like motivation doesn't fucking last. And whatever else I'm like okay, that's fucking fair. Um
Yeah.
and like and then not only that but like I didn't realize he lived in Indiana. Like he graduated
Yeah.
from
I
Brazil
know.
high school. I didn't know any of that.
Like crazy.
And I was like,
He
"Oh,
he's definitely a really interesting, inspiring, motivational dude that definitely takes it to the next level with his
mhm.
training.
Yeah, that's true." Uh it's ridiculous. I mean, yeah, just even the part when he like moved to Indiana and whatever else, I was like, "Oh, wow, that's cool. I didn't know that." And
Mm,
then the stories from that and it's like, "Oh shit, maybe his life's going to get better." And it's like it didn't. Like his
no.
would-be stepfather got murdered in cold blood, like, and this and that, and he saw a kid get ran over by a bus and saw the mother
Yeah.
like rip her hair out and this and that. I was like, what the hell am I reading? I was like, how did all this shit happen to this guy? I was like, no wonder he's like he is now. If not, I feel like he'd be clinically insane. Like it's either what
I
he is, or he'd be in
I
a
know.
mental institution.
And like yeah, I mean, I'm happy he found the path he did cuz yeah, he would probably I think he even says it like if he didn't find this path, he probably would have, gone down the same path his dad did or something. So I'm happy
Like,
that he's doing something positive. And like listening to the Joe Rogan podcast with him on, like every time I listen to it, it always gets me pumped up. It's just like, dang, I want to be like this guy. Like every
Yeah.
time I listen to it, I always like go out and run like 5 or 10 miles because I'm just like David Goggins.
Yeah, the dude is definitely super inspiring, and I was like, wow. I was like, okay. I was like, just like I said, I didn't know much about him. Getting into his backstory, I was just blown away by the stuff he has witnessed in his life
Mm-hmm.
and dealt with. And I was like, if he dealt with that and got to where he is now, I'm even more impressed. But no, yeah, like, and then even with like some of his stuff, like people, like I've listened to Joe Rogan and stuff talk about, like they've talked about Goggins in the sense of even like the human body and how it adapts and
Mm-hmm.
how like his knees were fucked and he's had surgeries and
Yeah.
whatever else, and because of all the running he's done. But so at one point, I guess when they did surgery on him or was looking at something, he kept running no matter what, and his
Mm-hmm.
knees were rubbing bone on bone.
Oh
But
no, that would hurt.
then to basically adapt, his bones literally shifted to like a
That would
different
hurt.
angle to where, well, it wouldn't have been something he noticed, but and
Still would have hurt.
it like shifted to where his knees literally changed its structure so that it wouldn't completely just rub on um like how like it was and whatever else.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess when they had the surgery or whatever, the doctor was like, I have never seen this, like I don't understand what the hell is going on. And then now there's been studies that like which I didn't know this, but it makes sense. Like the human bone structure can be adaptive to
Mm-hmm.
certain situations. And I guess just recently, archaeologists were able to find the old English bowman from the medieval ages, and
Yeah,
literally the
it's so
the
cool.
right side in his back and the bone structure is literally stronger and larger because they started training with bows as kids and
Mm-hmm.
their body just adapted to that. And like and I think the resistance was like roughly 190 pounds.
Yeah, it was something. See, this is the thing that people, I feel like, really don't get is that our body is like it is designed so amazingly, and whatever we throw at it, over time it will adapt.
Hmm.
Like 99% of the time, it will adapt. So a lot of people
I mean, if
like
given the
it's
chance, because
yeah,
like
it's like
with
a
anything, it's
lot
like if you
of
did something lethal, it's different. But if you do a
yeah.
little
Like
bit of
there was this
something,
guy who he started to inject himself with just a little bit of venom from
hmm,
snakes. So
I was
venomous
about to talk
snakes.
about the same guy.
Yeah, and over time he's gained immunity by it, and I
Hmm.
think his blood saves a bunch of people. I'm not sure.
I was gonna say, I think he
Um,
broke through a lot of studies on how to make
yeah,
some antidotes, and then
it's
I
like
think
our
even
body is
after
made
that,
to adapt and to you know hold up under stress, which is why a lot of like professional athletes can train like 4 or 5 times a day. Um, and it's just the human body is so amazing. It's
hmm,
so
and,
cool.
especially if you treat it right and know what you're doing, I guess the term biohacking is so like I don't know. I feel
Yeah,
like
I
at this
don't.
point it's a weighted term. Like I don't look at it the same. Like people that are like do this and it helps boost this and whatever.
I
And at one
know.
point it's like I guess I get what you're saying, but that's not what I mean. Like when I'm talking about biohacking, like in the way of like there's certain stuff you can do that just automatically naturally like raise your rates of recovery, can help with heart health, can do this. Like it's not biohacking, it's just like certain tips and things that like isn't necessarily super well known or talked about, or not many people know that like there's certain foods and certain things like for the male body in particular that is really really good for your heart health and this and that that you wouldn't necessarily think about but could have a very large impact. Like
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know this until recently, but men, no matter what, you could be super healthy and whatever else, automatically 2 times more likely to just drop dead from a heart attack
Yeah.
or just to have a heart attack. I was like, what the fuck? I was like, I didn't know that. And I was like, I was like, that's not good. Why is that? I don't like that. That's weird.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, how does that make sense? But I was like, wow, I did not realize that. And so like I take certain supplements to kind of in general just to help with heart health and whatever else. But it's just like there's little things like sauna recovery and like stuff that Joe Rogan talks about that I wish I could do or could afford in certain cases of like CBD stuff and even ice baths and like massages or certain foods getting just in general just like knowing how to like help your body run optimally. It just
Mm-hmm.
is so useful.
Yeah, like there's definitely a lot of supplements out there that can help. Um, but also just eating the right foods. Eating the right foods and just getting outside and moving. It's I mean that puts you in front of so many people because anymore not many people are getting outside. They're not eating the right food. Like it's showing. That's why America has like number one for obesity. Um, and
Yep.
it's just it, it's sad to see that. So literally just eating the right foods, like eating good meats, vegetables, and fruit. I mean, like those three things, I would say is like the most healthiest thing to eat. And fish, of course. I guess that can
Hmm.
be qualified as meat, right?
Yeah.
Can fish be
Yeah.
qualified as meat? Yeah,
Technically, I guess it's not quote unquote like it is, but it isn't. I don't know. It's like that weird in between.
that's true. Yeah,
But
I don't know, but just eating healthy, getting vitamins in, getting sun in,
and
and
the thing I've yeah no no yeah that's true. And the thing I've realized is at one point it's like it also is super dependent on the person because like some people are gonna operate
everybody's
better.
different.
Like their bodies are just gonna operate better at different capacities or with
Hmm.
different stuff. Some people might be better at cardio. Some people might be better at powerlifting. Just
Exactly.
in that sense.
It all depends on the body, but everybody's body, I would say, can adapt to any form of
Oh,
training.
true.
Like,
No, yeah.
but they're definitely like genetically. Some people are just genetically built as or really solid runner. The human body is the best and fastest long distance runner out of
Mm-hmm.
any animal in the world, but some people are just better than others. Where like
True.
other people are built better to like lift really heavy weight. Like me, my body is a horrible runner. Like I am genetically not built as a runner whatsoever. I'm short, I'm stocky, I can put muscle on pretty easily. I'm built
Mm-hmm.
more of like a power lifter because I can just easily um, just put weight on and lift heavy weights. But with
And
running, not so much, as
yeah,
this past week showed.
I was gonna say, how'd your last event go?
I'm actually very happy about it. So I did a
Oh, okay.
10K in track. I got a PR. I ran the 10K in 38 minutes. So I'm happy with that. It put me in eighth place, which got our team some points. Um, I mean, I pushed myself. Um, and I beat I beat a guy, so I was happy with that.
Yeah, that's good.
Um, I beat him by uh 0.02 seconds.
Okay,
So
cool.
it was awesome. It was so the last lap, like I knew that if I didn't kick, the guy was going to beat me, and
Mm-hmm.
so at the 400-meter mark, he was still about I don't know 50 meters in front of me or so, 20,
Yeah.
20 to 50, and so I started picking the pace up. And in our training, we've done a lot of 300-meter sprints. And so I finally caught up to him around the 300-meter mark. I'm like, okay, I have sprinted 300-meter and 48 seconds. That's my fastest time. And I'm like, I know I can sprint faster than that guy in this 300 meters. And so I sprinted. I caught up to him at the 200-meter, and we had an awesome, awesome, like just battle in the
Yeah,
last 100 meters. And I leaned just slightly more than him, and so I beat him. And yeah, I was happy with it.
that's good. That's good. Uh, yeah, that's awesome. Uh,
Thank you.
and that's another thing when it came to like, or with fitness in general, or dieting. It's like me personally, I've felt like I do better on just in general high protein diet, which I think most
Mm,
people should be on a higher protein
yeah,
diet in general.
you
Um,
can really never go wrong with that. Like I
no,
would, I would say protein is king.
a
Um,
100%. Protein is
like you
definitely the
really
most
can't
viable.
go wrong with that. Like with fats and carbs, depending on
It depends on what you're trying to do. I
depends on
mean,
what you're
like,
trying to do. Depends on how your body is built.
yeah,
But with
uh,
protein, I mean, you really can never go wrong with protein.
protein's definitely the most significant thing, just because it is the literal building block of everything. But then
Mm.
at the same time, carbs is so important, especially if you're trying
I
to
would say,
build
yeah,
and
carbs is
weight
important,
lift
especially for
and
endurance athletes.
endurance running. Like, it just depends on what you're trying to do. If you're trying to put on a lot of weight, it's
Hmm.
super important. If you're trying to do certain things, like, it's really important. Like, I did a 2 day fast this week, 2.5 day fast,
Oof.
and which I've done it before, but it's been a minute. And like by that second day, and I went to the gym the first day and first 24 hours, and that was already rough. And I ended up cutting back on the weightlifting and did more cardio. And that next day, before I was about to eat lunch or whatever, like that morning, I was so drained. Like I wasn't tired. Like I would say like mentally, I wasn't tired. Um, I didn't feel out of shape. It was like my muscles were drained. It was because I hadn't had
Hmm.
any carbs in 2.5 days.
Yeah.
Um, and so like I had no like oomph. Like my muscles just like no matter what felt fatigued. And I didn't feel like 100% even after lunch. I didn't feel good until like that evening.
Yeah.
But it's like that's something you just don't realize until you just try those things or do certain stuff. You're like, oh, this is why.
Yeah.
This is what happens to your body at one point or another. Like this is what this does. Like, and that's the thing. I don't care what people, how people eat or whatever else. Like, my main thing is like, as long as you feel good and you're still healthy and you're not treating your like, I don't care if you're vegan, vegetarian, pescatarian, carnivore, whatever. Like I, everybody, it just depends, and you gotta like some people gotta bounce around until they figure out what their like match is.
Yeah. Yeah, and
Um,
I've gone on so many different diets. Um, and right now what is working best for me is eating lean meats. Like what I said earlier, like lean
mm-hmm.
meats, vegetables, like a little bit of vegetables, tons of fruit, and I do have quite a bit of carbs, um, just cause my training volume. I need it. But
Mm-hmm.
like the one thing I that has really helped me is low fat. Like
Really?
I take in barely any. The only fat I get is from like my lean meats, or sometimes I'll have avocado.
Like when
Um,
you mean you take in a little fat, is that in your calorie percentage or are you saying gram wise?
Grammar wise, like
Okay.
I take in like I don't know. Sometimes I would say like 20 to 30 grams of fat a day.
Okay.
Um, where everything else is like carbs is
I feel like well,
like
what meats are you eating?
200 grams, huh?
What meats are you eating? I guess.
I'm eating uh the package is over there. But like it's the cheapest meat I can find here. It's actually grass fed, which is weird. That's the cheapest, but it's like
I mean, that does mean
90.
there's less fat.
It's like I forget what it was. 95% lean, and then like 5% fat. Like it's super lean.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I
I was
mean,
gonna say,
I've
I think it's
noticed in
like,
just a couple weeks like a difference it's made.
yeah. I was gonna say,
Because
I
like my
think I don't know. I think
strength.
I might considered. I don't know because like right now, like just I guess off of today, my protein or so my fats and carbs when it comes to grams are the exact same.
Mm,
Um, but like my protein's super high.
yeah, so I saw a recent video, and I haven't researched it, but it was
Mm.
actually from Alex Hormozi. I
Oh
don't know if you
wait,
saw
was
it.
it? I
It
think I
was
might
about
have.
his diet, and so I
What?
want to look into it. But he was
Which
talking
one?
about it was a recent one. It was about how he and this one other guy they were talking, and they found out that like they did a study and found out, or someone did a study, and they found out that fat is like it converts over to like fat like more than carbs and
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
protein,
It.
and so
No.
they
That.
did like a
Yeah.
really high carb and protein diet, and like he put on a lot of weight and kept his fat percentage down. And
No. Yeah. 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 I think I saw the
that's
same
what
thing.
like I've noticed today, in the past like 2 days, because I've been doing this for maybe a little over a month where I switched my
Mm-hmm.
diet, and I've been running like 5 to 8 miles a day, track
Yeah.
intervals like twice a week, and then having like a strength and conditioning, um, like CrossFit style, like 1 to 2 hours of it, like 3 to 4 times a week.
Cool.
And like I've noticed a giant difference in just like the way I've eaten, where my weight is staying the same, but like I feel
Mm-hmm.
like my fat percentage is going down. And so I'm like gaining strength, and like my conditioning is good, and
I was.
like I'm keeping speed and everything, but like
I,
I'm like losing fat. Like I've looked in the mirror, I'm like, I've never noticed that I've had abs before. Like, okay, that's kind of cool.
no, that's fair. That's actually pretty sick. Cause that's the thing. I
Thank you.
don't know. I'm trying to think with my shit. I was like, I don't even know if that's a lot of fat or not. Like, I'm like, and the thing is, there's nothing in particular that I feel like I'm taking in that's super high in fats.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's certain stuff that are higher, but it's like most shit, depending on what it is. I mean, if you go base straight off of meat, that's the best way to get really really high protein and then lower
Oh
fat.
yeah.
But anything that's not meat, any dairy products, any other stuff, most of the time is typically that's high protein is has more fat in it. So like I was gonna say, like today I had turkey, like a bunch of turkey, some
Mm-hmm.
chicken, um, tuna, like high protein yogurt, some popcorn, like whatever else. Nothing too crazy, but like I ended up with 202 grams of protein and then 79 grams of carbs and fat.
Dang, that's pretty good. Yeah, it's fun to kind of test out a diet and
Yeah,
like just it's fun to spend a couple years just working out kinks and finding what works best for you. Um,
true.
and yeah, like
I feel like that's one thing I hate is like in general it's not talked about. Like I know the information I know about nutrition, like yeah, I don't have a nutrition certification. I don't necessarily look like I know a crazy amount about nutrition, but at the same time, it's like I know a fuck ton more than the average person. And like it's like most people, you tell them certain stuff or talk about this, or it's like, oh yeah, this is how this works, or this is why, and they're like, what? And like it's not a lot that people know, and it just like it's not taught in schools. They don't teach you why eating certain ways is so important, the health benefits
yeah,
of it. Like it's very it's just very I don't know, it's just it's hard to explain. Like it's just they just don't talk about stuff like at all. Like I even in
they
health they don't talk
they
about it.
really don't. And like I guess the most they talk about it is the shoot, what is it called? I haven't seen it ever. But the plate that they show where it's
Mhm. And that's so
like
old.
that's the
Or the
it's
pyramid.
so
The
old,
old
so
pyramid shit.
outdated.
It's
I mean, if I feel like if we talked about this in school and like actually educated people on it, I mean that would help a lot of people. But also, I don't feel like healthy eating, like being healthy, is as supported anymore. Like when Adele. I just talked to a guy in the gym today about it, but Adele lost all that weight. She received
yeah.
so much hate for it, so much hate. When, like, you would think we should support her and be like, "Good job,
Oh
like
no,
you lost that
100%.
weight. Like
And I
that's
guess it's kind of the
really
same for
good."
Amy Schumer. Like, you know, like Amy Schumer she
Yeah.
just was in a new movie on Netflix. I haven't watched it, but I saw it and I was like, "Oh fuck, that's Amy Schumer." And I think that's like her first movie since she's lost the weight. And
Hmm.
I got to admit, it does throw me off because she does look so different. It's not what I'm used to.
Hmm.
And and I don't know if that's part of the reason with some of the people with Adele is like I don't know if it's necessarily people are upset that she lost weight. I think part of it is because some of these people obviously do it on their own accord, and some of these people have done it partially through COVID, that like all of a sudden they were skinny and people were like, "Oh, I'm not used to this." So I feel like that's part of it. Like no one
I mean,
saw the transition slowly but surely, or and it wasn't something because most of the time you won't realize it that if someone's slowly losing weight unless you look at like older pictures or something. So it's like she was overweight and then all of a sudden she was like in the news, whatever else, and she had lost however much, and everybody's like, "Oh shit, that's not the Adele I know." Like, you know.
my opinion on what I think it is, so it's my opinion, is that when they see a celebrity lose that weight, it makes a lot of people aware of themselves, and that doesn't make them happy. It's like they're like, this
Yeah.
celebrity just lost all this weight, but I am still overweight. That makes me
Okay,
like
yeah, that's
feel
fair.
not great, and I'm like,
I feel like that might be part of it actually. Now that you say that, like, I feel like that's definitely something, and part of it is I feel like it might even with some people in certain cases might give them some excuse also in the back of their mind because they're like, well, the only reason she can lose weight is because she has money and she can get a personal trainer and a nutritionist and
yeah, they make
whatever
excuses.
else.
It's like
Exactly.
you can lose weight in your home with body weight exercises and changing your diet.
True. And I
Like,
think that Honestly, I think the biggest thing, like part of it, I feel like with certain people is just in general motivation to like do stuff and challenge themselves and whatever else and develop discipline. Like that itself
Mm-hmm.
is an issue. But I feel like with most things, it doesn't matter if it comes to money, uh, like health, it, politics in certain situations, or a bunch of shit. It doesn't matter what it is, any topic. I feel like most of the issues or like the discrepancies between people is caused by like overall uneducation on certain topics, and like people just don't know certain stuff, you know what I mean?
I don't.
I like some people
I
don't
don't
know
know.
what their macro breakdown should be. Some people don't understand macros. I hardly knew. Like in high school, I didn't think, like growing up, I never thought of that at all. The first thing I ever started looking at when it came to nutrition facts was calorie intake. That was it. And I mean, I guess that's a basic thing, but I didn't understand what carbs did, what the point of it. I didn't know, like, I know the scientific percentage of like how much calories
Mm-hmm.
and how much energy it takes for your body to break down the three different macros. And like,
Yeah. So I see your point. Um, and yes, I agree with that to a point. But like, um, I'm trying to think of how to say this because I want to say it in a more positive way. But it's like, so people could use that, and yes, some people are not educated on the macros and stuff. But I mean, people still know that if they're getting a Big Mac at McDonald's and a large Coke, that is unhealthy.
well,
Like,
yeah, I
correct.
mean,
And
I
so
would think
doing
so,
stuff
yeah.
like that every day, and like most people, I would say a good 95% of people know that, like, well, if I'm eating
And
these greasy cereal, sugar fueled
yeah.
food every single day, that this is not healthy
Did you
and
say
this is what made
cereal?
me gain, yeah, cereal. Like
Oh,
Frosted Flakes and fruit, whatever.
wait,
I don't even, I
yeah,
haven't had
yeah,
cereal in so long. Cereal is really good though. Like
yeah.
it's really freaking good.
I want to try Magic Spoon. Have you heard
I
of
do
it?
too. I've seen a lot of
Yeah,
ads about that. But back to it, it's like
yeah, yeah.
even if you are not fully educated on the macros and like what carbs do to the body and what, you know, all that,
What? Yeah, I mean
you
that
still
was a very
know
in
that
depth. Yeah,
an
but yeah,
apple is more healthy than a donut.
true. But the thing that I've realized also reading, what is it called? The Power of Habit. That book, which I still
Hmm.
gotta finish it. I'm so close to being done, and I just haven't sat down and knocked it
Yeah.
out. But like part of it isn't honestly. There's so many things that I've realized, especially with that and knowing some stuff, like learning stuff in psychology and certain things. Like there is so much of a person's everyday that some people aren't it's not conscious decisions. Some of it is definitely made up by how society enables it, and
Hmm.
like psychology that companies use to try getting people in, and advertisements, and like it's an uphill battle. Like the game is played against you because of marketing and corporate greed, which is fair. You got to have corporate stuff in general to keep everything rolling, but and then not only that, part of it I feel like is like also the way you're raised and the habits you form really young
That
that have such a large impact in the long
that is
run.
true. That is very very true.
And
A
then
lot
just
of people,
convenience.
yeah, I mean, our society is built for they want to make everything more convenient. Like everything
Which
is.
I can't deny I like convenience too. But
I like it too. It saves me a lot of time.
yeah.
Like it
It
saves
just
me.
depends on
I
what it is.
like time is money. Time is so valuable, and so that is very valuable today. And I feel like what a lot of companies and what society does anymore is they're like, we want you to be as comfortable as possible. And so they make everything as convenient and as lazy as possible. Um, which is like it's a smart business move, like DoorDash, um,
Mm-hmm.
like just everything. Like with all the supermarkets now, where you can just drive up, um, you place your order up, the order, you drive up, and then they just like toss it in the back of your car, you pay, and then you drive off. Super convenient,
True.
but I mean,
And I don't think that stuff's bad. It's just like
I
people
don't
need to
think
understand.
so
People have to
either.
have a balance. Like people gotta
But I mean, if you
like
make that your habits, where
yeah,
everything is
no,
just
true.
convenience,
Yeah,
and you're
yeah.
not taking the 10-20 minutes to walk inside a grocery store, look people in the eye, talk to people, and walk around getting exercise, I feel like that can have an impact on you, especially if you have kids and you're doing all that, and your kids are just in
Mm-hmm.
front of a. I don't have kids, so maybe again, I'm just talking out my butt. But man, I'm going on a tangent. I am sorry. It's just society is very, very um, lazy anymore, and it's very sad to see that.
Yeah. And it's and I feel like it's like most of the stuff we see nowadays, like everything that's happened is because of like 2 generations ago. Like it all started back in the 50s when the first fast food restaurant like opened, and then that kind of like started to become a thing, and then people got into it, and then it became like a treat, and then it became so common that it was so easy to do that then like the generation before us, like my parents and certain people now in the early 2000s and 90s, especially in the middle class, like it became so easy to just go out and eat at like a fast food restaurant in particular, like let's
Hmm.
just say McDonald's, because it's one so cheap and two it's
Yeah,
so easy.
it's
And
super easy. I mean, if you have like a
it
big family and like
yeah,
you're busy,
food's expensive.
why
That
you
too.
go to through McDonald's drive-through,
You
you
can get
spend ten
you can get like
bucks,
15 burgers for
you
$20.
feed all your little kids.
Yeah.
But what is more like what is the how do I put this in words that are intelligent? Um, what's
Yeah.
more valuable? Taking, that 5 minutes, and now you have more time to go do something else, or
Mhm.
spending maybe 30 to 45 minutes, um, you know, buying food and then cooking with your family. So now you
True.
have quality time, you have more healthy food. Um, so now it's not just bettering your health, but your family's health, and you're
It'll be better
connecting
on your
with your whole
mental health.
family.
Yeah, like
It's just
there's a
like,
lot of plus sides, and like that's the thing with that book I read on habit. It's like with how they made it sound and how the studies have shown, it seems like you can't just remove a habit. Like that's not
no,
possible. The only way you can
it
like you can change habits and you rewrite them to end up doing something else, but you can never get rid of habits. Like that's something that's impossible. Like part of the studies that they talk about and reference, I was so like dumbfounded, but I was like, it makes so much sense. It's like with certain habits, there's so many things that you don't even realize that after you've done it so long, that the whole point the brain does this is like the first few times you do something, like the first few times you drive or the first few times you do something new, your brain is super activated because it's nothing it's done before. Like they've done brain studies to actually map the brain as they do this,
mm-hmm,
and it's like flaring everywhere and firing all sorts of neurons in your body, trying to understand and take in all the information and see what needs to be done. And then it's like you do it again and you do it again, and what keeps happening over time, you'll get to the point where the brain will hardly ever, like if they do the same thing later on and they do the same scans, the brain and the neurons hardly fire, because basically it's like your body is trying to find ways to make it easier, conserve energy, make it less
exactly.
stressful, and just becomes something that's more natural. So it gets to the point where the brain basically puts what you're doing on the back burner because it's done it so many times. It just automatically does it. And you don't even realize, you don't have to think about it. And then you can use that brain power and that time and that energy and put it into like something else. So it's like, you don't have to think about how to back out of your driveway every day because you've done it so many times. You just do it.
I've
Like,
almost crashed so many times because you're right. I made
maybe
a
you need to
really bad
focus.
habit of where, like, usually no one's in our road in the morning. So usually I just like back out. I don't even look behind me. And sometimes, like once a month, someone's always just like right there, and I have to like not slam on my brakes, but stop, and like
Hmm.
because I see them just like in the last second. But so
Oh,
going back to
happy
like,
birthday, bitches.
wait, is it midnight? It's
It is
midnight.
12:05.
Freaking happy birthday! I didn't
I'm
freaking forget.
21.
You should have a shot.
Yep, I'll
We
be
should
back.
take a bathroom break, and you should have a shot.
Okay, we'll be back. I will go get liquor and we're taking a piss. We'll be right back, everybody. All right, everybody, we are back. I got my UV blue bombsicle vodka. So,
Whoa.
if you're listening, grab your alcohol and we will do a
If
shit.
you're of age, if you're 21.
Yeah, true. Most of our
Yeah.
listeners aren't. If you're above age, grab some whiskey, grab anything, drink a beer, drink with me.
There you go.
Happy 21.
Happy birthday, Brett. I didn't forget. Did not forget.
Shout out to my sister for the shot glass. She bought it when
babe.
she was on spring break in Panama City because she knew my birthday was coming up. Well, okay, so
We're
I kind of
speaking
ran out of
diet and
vodka.
exercise, and you're drinking.
Yep.
Although,
I
it is
mean,
okay.
have you listened to Joe Rogan? The man is super into fitness, but motherfucker
Dude, no,
smokes
I'm about to
all the
say,
time.
it's like
You still gotta have
alcohol
that.
is not alcohol is
Yeah,
not bad. God made it.
in
You should turn
moderation.
water into wine. And you're 21. Have your first shot. First legal shot.
Yeah, true. 2 shots down. Oh yeah.
There you go. One for you, one for me.
Yeah, exactly. I got you. Yeah, that is one thing. It's like people. That's the thing. If you are super healthy, then you have people that aren't. That like will say shit if you like do something that's not necessarily super healthy or you have foods or whatever else.
I know.
And that's
yeah.
one thing that I love about Alex Hormozi is like. He's like, what do you mean? He's like, I'm gonna enjoy my desserts. Like that's why, like basically, that's how I structured my diet was from one of his videos, and like in the sense of high protein, focus on that,
Mhm.
and then go from there. Like basically, the only thing I'm really focusing on is making sure I get my protein in and the calorie I need to hit. But other than that,
Yeah.
I'm not super worried about it. And that's like the two numbers I'm focused on. And I mean, so
Yeah,
far in the
like,
past 3 weeks, I've lost 12 pounds.
dude, awesome. That's awesome. Good
And
job, man.
I feel good. Like it,
I'm
and
glad.
it makes sense. And that's the thing. He's like, you can't put people on a super restrictive diet and say you can only eat plain chicken breast and broccoli and rice for
You will
3
fail.
meals a day forever because no one works that way. Like Alex Hormozi weighs 200 pounds. He is shredded as hell. He's big and he eats fucking desserts and whatever the fuck he wants every day.
I have usually last week, dude, last week was bad. But like usually I have one cheat meal a week. And like that helps me. And usually I say that, but usually on Sunday I'll have a couple cookies and Like if I'm over at people's houses and like they have some desserts, I'll probably
Yeah.
have a couple. It just depends on like I look at calories. Um, I don't really count them, but I view them as like calories as a budget. So like if you have a daily budget
That's
of money that you
honestly a
can
good way to
spend,
look at it.
yeah, it's like
Like how
okay,
much am I spending this week? Like some people will look at calories on a week basis because there's some
that's
ways you
smart.
can structure your diet where it's like, okay, through the week I'm more restricted during the weekdays. On the weekends it's a little more relaxed, but no matter what, it's
Hmm.
the same deficit. You can either break it down throughout the week and make it even. You know, some days that are harsher than others. Like there's so many little things that even 20 years ago when it comes to dieting and science wasn't known. And it's
Hmm.
like, and that's the thing, like looking back at it now, I am so, I don't know, like I'm so I say impressed with myself, but not even that. I'm so fascinated by how much I did not know in general in life. like it's
Hmm.
it's like looking back at myself 3 years ago or something in high school, and I'm like, I was a fucking dumbass. I thought I knew shit. I didn't know anything. Like I didn't know stuff
Hmm.
about finance. I didn't know stuff about nutrition. I didn't know shit about real life. And like now it's like, and I'm only 21. Obviously, I got so much more to learn, and that's kind of my goal is just to retain as much information, be open minded, and just take in anything I can. And that's one reason why I got
Hmm.
into podcasts, because it's like the easiest way to retain and listen to other people's point of views and take in any information someone else knows
Yeah.
is just by sitting there and listening to them while you're working or doing something else. Like it's kind of
Yeah.
like an audiobook to an extent, but it's very personable and it's all
I
real
know
and it's
it's great.
conversation. And that's one reason why I wanted to start a podcast is kind of for like the same reasons.
Hmm.
And it's like in 2 years, it's like the amount of stuff I know now about the human body, about myself, about personality, psychology, about anything. Like it's just like exponentially grown. And it's like just even looking back at shit I looked at a year ago and how I pictured it and how I imagined it, it's like looking at it now, I'm like, oh, okay, I see it from a whole different point of view now. I see why I looked at it this way, but I was looking at it wrong, or what, like,
Hmm.
or I was, I had too many emotions tied up in it, or whatever else. Like, since high school, I've lost 35 pounds roughly, and
That's awesome, man.
probably like I've lost 35 pounds, but at that same time, I've probably put on 25 pounds in muscle because there
Hmm.
for a while, I mean, I wasn't focusing on diet, but my
Yeah.
strength has kept going up and my weight stayed about the same. So I put
And
on
which,
like
yeah.
my biceps are about the same size that I was before I've lost some weight. Like,
Hmm.
and that's so like just in general, like even now it's like why didn't I look at my calories and do this? Because at one point it's like this would in general help with my lifting progress. And honestly, when it comes down to it, dieting can be so easy. And especially
It
with how
it
Alex
is.
breaks it
It's
down,
like
like
it's
in the sense of just focusing on protein and calories. Because like with this whole thing, and it makes sense, the best way to either retain protein when losing weight, to even keep being able to possibly build and whatever else and everything is basically to eat 1 gram per pound of weight. And
mhm.
then from there, it's like as long as you get that in, and he's like, if you eat lean meats, you can do that within, depending on weight. If you're 200 pounds and you need 200 grams of protein, you can do that roughly with 2 pounds of lean meat, and then
Yeah.
that's roughly 1,000 calories. And he's like, after you get to that point, eat whatever the fuck you want because you got the main thing that you need for your body to be successful down. And from there, it's like take in whatever carbs. If you want to eat pasta, eat some pasta. The only thing after that
Love
is like,
pasta.
how many calories do you want to take in? Like, And then depending on your goals, if you want to maintain or you want to gain weight or you want to whatever, you can eat more shit. You can eat cake, and
I love cake.
it's like no big deal because it's like you got the most important thing already out of the way, that you can
Yeah.
still be flexible in what you have on your day to day.
It's literally just about calories in and out. Like if you want to, it's not the most healthiest, but you can lose weight by it. If you want to, you could eat. I don't know how many calories they have, but you could eat like two Big Macs a day. You could,
Don't
and
do
you
that.
could lose weight. Don't do that, but you could.
I can tell you right now. So after high school, I really quickly, I did, within about 2 months, I did lose like 35 pounds really quickly. I
Yeah,
did gain some of that back. But the reason
like
being,
back in
I don't even think I
summer.
told you that.
I
I
think you did. I think you did.
I
But
did, but I
like
don't think
back
I
in
told you the
summer,
extent I was doing.
I
Like
I lost I forget how much weight. I was 195, and then during the summer I kind of went on a diet, and I went from 195 to 156. I'm back up to 170 right now. But like my diet during that was it was pretty horrible. I was doing like 8 to 10 hour days at the farm, at a like working on a farm, very labor intensive, and
yeah,
I would eat 3 to 4 eggs in the morning. I would
I love
sometimes
eggs.
skip lunch, or just have like a PB&J, and
Hmm.
then dinner was like 3 to 4 eggs, and that's
Yeah.
it. And I
Okay,
lost a
so
lot of weight.
yeah, that's even better than what I was doing. So there for a minute after high school, I moved down to Brown County for roughly 8 months with my dad,
Mm,
and I was working at a cafe, and I love that place. But at that same point in time, which this was after I did this, and this was probably the point where I started to gain back some of the weight. I mean, it was an ice cream shop and cafe, so like possibly drinking three, let's say mochas a day. That's a lot of sugar, or
tons of sugar.
snacking on ice cream or whatever else. Like fuck, like I at one point had a problem while I was there. But at the same time, when I first started there for a minute, I didn't get into fitness. I got into fasting pretty much. But not even
Mm,
that. Like I didn't even get into fasting. I cut my calorie intake down for like 2 months really low to like 5,000 what? 5 or 600 calories a day, but I was eating like, I wasn't taking multivitamins. I wasn't taking any supplements. I I don't even know what the fuck I was eating. I think like I said, like I was so ill informed in what the fuck I was doing. I don't even know if I told you this. I was just taking in 600 calories. So it might have been a little bit of fruit and a little bit of this. But I mean, like, imagine 600 calories is nothing. And it's like, even if I only ate
yeah.
meat in that amount of time with 600 calories, like the highest I could have done is like maybe 80 grams of protein, if that, at the time. So there for a
Hmm.
minute, I was doing that for so long. Surprisingly, I felt fairly good, as I recall. Like I did some body weight exercises. I would go hiking for hours. Like that was one of my favorite things to do when living down there on my days off. I would go and hike for like by myself for like 5 to 8 hours, depending on what it was. Like, and I just go for like, oh well,
I'm
maybe not that many
jealous.
hours, 5 to 8 miles, and just go through the
Hmm.
woods and jog and whatever, and just enjoy myself for hours, and listen to music. And then at the same time, at certain times, I was working like 50 plus hours a week or more, working doubles, and I was functional, and I lost a lot of weight, but I hadn't put on any muscle because I
Hmm.
wasn't weightlifting. I wasn't taking in protein. So at one point, I definitely had probably lost muscle and whatever else. and I was gonna say, like I said, I lost a lot of weight, and for where I was, I probably could have done something similar to that, but I definitely did not do that properly, where I
Yeah.
probably made it worse on my body. And then I gained more weight back, stayed about 200 for a while, or a little over, started working out with you. Like, after that would have been like maybe 4 or 5 months later. And that's how I got into weightlifting. And then slowly it just kept progressing. And like the amount of information I knew, what I was incorporating into my life and taking in and doing. And just went from there. Like, and then that's where I am now, and I've probably the most physically fit, healthiest I've been, the lowest weight I've ever been in my adult life, and I feel the best, I look the best, and it's like it is like it's a learning process. Like everybody starts
Oh yeah.
somewhere, and it's like you might fuck up when you first start. You have the right
Of
idea,
course you
but
will.
are you
Not
doing it
even when
right?
you
Probably
first
not.
start, but even when you keep going. I mean,
Yeah,
that's
I was
just
gonna say
all
it's
part
it's
of
2 years.
anything. Like I still make mistakes, but I would say I'm still pretty young, and the whole fitness
I'm young.
thing. I We're both pretty young. We're in our 20s, but I mean, I've been studying and researching all this fitness fun stuff since I would say I really got into it around like 13 and 14
Hmm.
is when I really started studying it. So a few years, a few years of it, and I still learn so much. There's still so
True.
much research that's coming out, and
Every
so
year, like
much
there's so much
every
stuff.
year. Just like learning how to build the the performance I want and the athletics I do. Like, and I mean, I don't know if we want to go down this tangent, but
Mm.
there's also a difference between eating for like eating for health reasons and then eating for performance, which I have found
Yeah,
to
no, yeah, I feel like that's a fact, but I feel like the best
like
way, no matter what, is to like you gotta have that balance. Like it doesn't matter what it is. Like anything in moderation is good at one point. Like liquor's not bad, sugar's not necessarily bad. It depends on how you're taking it in and how much you're taking in. Same with McDonald's. If you have McDonald's once every 2 months, you're fine. Or like I can't tell you the last time I
yeah,
had McDonald's.
but I would say that's more for um the people that just want to be like healthy. But like so for me right now, my training volume is about to skyrocket in the next couple weeks because it's going to be the off season. And looking at it, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna need four, like either 3,500 to 4,000 calories a day. And what I've been researching is a lot of professional athletes. It's just like with that amount of calories, how they recover best is by basically eating mostly whatever they want. Like I still have to be smart about it, but
Mm-hmm.
like Matt Fraser, the fittest man in the world, he's won like countless um, CrossFit games, and
Mm-hmm.
like he went to this one guy, this sport performance dude that was really smart, and just asked like, how can I be the best at my sport? And I mean, he told him after like intervals on like an assault bike or a rower, shove like Snickers, like just like Snicker bars in your mouth
Mm-hmm.
and eat those because the sugar and the glycogen and a bunch of other science stuff that I forget. And then also, they even talked about taking like the tub of Gatorade like powder, mixing like a whole scoop full in like just like a 6 ounce glass of water, so it's like sludge, and then chugging that because it just goes straight to the muscles and like stuff like that is where it's like that's not. No one would ever recommend that to someone that wants to be healthy. Like that is for performance, for high performance athletes. And like, I don't want to do that. I'm not going to do that. But it's very interesting seeing the difference between someone in that kind of sport to someone that just wants to eat healthy,
Which is
yeah.
true. And I mean, most
Mm-hmm.
people, even if they are fit and whatever else, you can get pretty fit and do stuff,
Oh yeah.
I guess, fairly easily. Like, when it comes down to it, like, you can do so much just from the basics. And
So
that's one
much.
thing that's so amazing is that, like, the first part of the journey to ever getting into fitness can be so simple and fairly easy just to get you down that path to begin. And it's like,
All it takes is just a
and that's the thing.
a couple months of dedication, and you've
True.
built a base, and then just keep going.
But even, I guess, in that sense, with someone that is obviously an athlete, even eating like that, like, obviously that's not the best thing for you, but I
Mm.
don't even necessarily think it's that bad, because with what they're doing, what he's
Yeah,
doing, he's
that's the
burning
thing.
so many calories. He's probably already taking so many supplements. He's already getting all the vitamins he needs. He's probably getting the amount of protein he needs. Like, his body itself, when it comes to its nutrition and its health,
Hmm.
is taken care of. So if he is and it's already a well-tuned machine, if he does throw a few Snickers in there to help throw up calories to get to wherever he needs to, I don't feel like that for someone like that would necessarily be a big deal. It's when you have
Same.
someone
Yeah.
that doesn't do that, that isn't working out, isn't taking care of their body at the
Hmm.
most basic level, that does that a lot, that fucks the engine, and then it becomes an
Yes.
issue. Like,
It's just about calories in and out.
yeah, it's
Again,
like, if you're
like
not
it's that
getting
simple.
the like, my macronutrients are super important with the amount of protein, carbs, and fats you get. Like, we've talked about that, but the
Yeah.
micronutrients are even more important. Like, the vitamins and stuff your body's taking in is even more important, because if there's certain stuff you're getting, your body will physically not function properly.
Hmm.
And, like, if someone's not doing that and watching that and knowing that it's balanced and taken care of, it's a whole different scenario when it comes to fitness, because it's like, that's one reason why I take athletic greens. It's one reason why I take some of the supplements I do, is because I know that most of the time I probably am not getting it necessarily all from my diet. So it's like, this is a good way to make sure I get it, so that if I do at one point eat a little unhealthy, I know I'm at least still getting the nutrition I need to just make my body function better.
Yeah.
And, like, some of the stuff I've watched, like, I feel like the thing when it came to, like, nutrition facts and fitness facts, I guess, not even facts, studies that I've looked into, I would recommend anybody to this channel, but it's called Gravity Transformation. It's on YouTube. The dude is a personal trainer and a fitness model, and he does really well. He does a lot better on getting into topics than we do, but when it comes down to it, but this guy will take a specific thing with fitness, specific exercises or set of exercises or type, or certain nutrition things or whatever else, and he'll go through actual studies from Yale or Harvard or different medical studies that have been held forever. Go through research papers, break down stuff, give you the numbers. This is what happened. This is the placebo. This is how it affected this person's body. This was this. So he breaks down everything. Like, what's the most effective exercise to target these muscles on an actual scientific scale? What these certain foods actually do to your body in a long-term sense. Like, he breaks stuff down so in depthly, because he takes all this information from a bunch of studies. And even when he does this, he even says, some, like, in certain things, he's like, some of the stuff isn't necessarily proven fact. It will only do so much. Like, and even he says, like, yeah, I'm going to tell you this information, and yeah, this food might boost your metabolism, whatever else. But it's like, you still got to put in the work of just exercising. You can't just eat this and expect to lose weight. Like, you gotta still take care of yourself before anything's gonna happen. But, like,
Hmm.
like that's how I got into some of the stuff. Like I know that for every gram of protein, or no, every 100 calories of protein you basically take in, almost 20 of those calories, roughly anywhere from 15, no, I think it's 15 to 30 of those calories are going to be burned just in the process of breaking down the protein. And that's where like Alex Hormozi was getting when it comes to fat. Fat literally takes no energy to digest. It immediately gets absorbed into the system because your body does not have to use any energy to break it down. Protein's the one that's the hardest. Carbs is right in the middle. That's why like already eating high protein, technically you're burning more calories from the food you're eating just because it's harder for your body to process it. And like there's just little stuff that you don't know that your body can do, and it's so amazing. It's so cool.
Yeah, like it's something that I feel like we'll just keep finding more and more about on how the body runs, and just because it's created so amazingly, and just yeah, it's insane. It's insane what the body can do, what proper nutrition and just doing the right stuff, what outcomes it can lead to, and what it can get you.
It is just it's crazy. I'm trying to think of some of the stuff I've watched of his and some of the studies he's done. Like he's done stuff on like anything. Like he's done stuff on like how to boost your metabolism or how to burn more fat, whatever else. How to get rid of stubborn fat. Like this is stuff that's clickbaity, whatever else, to get people in and hooked. But then he does break stuff down. But like I said, he always goes back to like you already got to be working towards something for this to even be worth your while. But like some of the stuff he talks about that I never knew. Most people, especially athletes, are low in zinc. Most foods don't have zinc, and I think 40% of the world population is already deficient in zinc. And same with like iodine and whatever else. Like iodized salt is better for you than regular salt. And yeah, sodium isn't good on a certain level, but for someone that's active and sweats and doing this and that, they're more likely to have reduced zinc and iodine levels. And both of those are so important and keeping your metabolism and your body running functionally with your thyroid and producing the right hormones. And it's like, I didn't know that. But guess what? I just basically learned about biochemistry watching a YouTube video and learned that taking iodine then allows this compound to be produced by the thyroid, and then taking zinc then allows that compound to be transformed into this to then allow this to be produced by the body. Like there's so many like little things that's like it's so interesting. So like that's why I get fascinated by watching some of the videos, because it's like what does this do? Like I take garlic supplements because it's very, very good and well known to help with heart health and cardiovascular health and even a little bit of metabolism. No, I wouldn't say so. Or ginger. Ginger's so good. It's really good for your testosterone
See,
levels.
I don't take that many like vitamins and supplements. I know I should.
I don't take a whole lot. I take athletic greens. We've talked about that. But like other than that, I'd take oral vitamin C. I take zinc. I take selenium because I did get a DNA test done, and my body, it's harder for my body to process that. And I don't get it in my diet very well because it's mainly from certain nuts and fish, but like very specific. And so I take selenium. I take turmeric only when I don't use it in any cooking, because I do I put it into some foods. And I take that for inflammation and whatever else, because I have a gangrenous cyst in my wrist that flared up when I first started exercising, and it got so bad that I could hardly work out. And I had to go get an X-ray. And part of it, I think, was my body wasn't used to the stress on my wrist, and that caused it to flare up. But then part of it was also probably the foods I was eating and whatever else wasn't necessarily helping with my inflammation either. So ever since then, that original X-ray, and since I first started taking turmeric, literally days after that X-ray, I haven't had it flare up since, knock on wood. But
That's awesome.
I mean, it's been almost 2 years now. Like, it's pushing 2 years since that's happened, and I haven't had any issues. But like, I take that. I'm trying to think. I take vitamin D just because I'm not necessarily outside all the time, where I probably don't get as much sun as necessary at times. I am blanking. I take a few others, but nothing too crazy.
More than I do. Like,
I take omega-3s every day. And then I take a B
you're on top of
complex.
it.
Yeah, I think that's all of it. I don't know.
Dude, all I take, I don't take any pills or anything. I take BCAAs, L-glutamine, beta alanine, and then I have protein powder. That's it.
See, I don't take any of those. And then I take like creatine.
Yeah,
But
I don't take creatine. That's not important for like my goals.
yeah, it's not important for endurance really.
Yeah, no.
It's
But
better for like strength.
if you want to try a really good pre-workout, beta alanine. Holy crap, I love that. And
There's certain things that I definitely need to look more into.
dude, beta alanine, it makes me feel like I have a third lung.
Like, I just saw a
It makes me feel amazing.
I saw an ad the other day for a energy drink, but with nootropics in it, and it has certain mushrooms and a bunch of other stuff. And I know that like there's certain foods and mushrooms and certain things that are like very, very good. Like there's supplements that are good for your body, but then there are literally certain foods and things that are just good for your mind and to help with blood flow into the brain, memory, overall health. It's so. I mean, there's some stuff that like Joe Rogan's talked about, and that's kind of piqued my interest on some of it. But like, it makes a lot of sense. Like, I was gonna say, my grandmother on my dad's side has dementia, and it's like I'm not genetically exposed to get it, but that's not something I want to deal with. So it's like that's one reason why I take omega-3s and I get in the sauna and whatever else, because this is all stuff that's been proven to have one really, really, really good results on heart health, but not only heart health, but brain health. And I feel like part of that is because when you do stuff like a sauna or ice bath or take omega-3s, it helps with your circulatory system. And I think part of the reason why most people have issues even throughout their whole body, but especially the brain at one point, is because their circulatory system isn't strong enough to allow the body to give nutrients to certain parts of the body and deliver what's necessary, because it's just not healthy enough.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you're right on all those. The sauna and ice bath is the two things I wish I don't have access to a sauna, but an ice bath.
I would do it in the summer, but I don't, like, my gym closes it because he doesn't want to deal with his gym getting warm.
I mean, I have a greenhouse. I can jump in that. That thing gets hot.
Yeah. Like, I was so dedicated to it that there last summer for a bit, when I'd leave the gym after a workout, I have a black car, so it's already hot. And then I just leave the windows up and say, fuck it, my drive home. So my car would be like, I don't know, 110 degrees. I'm just in there. But when I do the sauna, I crank that thing up all the way, so it'd be like 190, and I'm in there for 20 minutes.
It's intense. That
It's
makes you.
so good. I love it.
Oh, yeah. The best recovery I ever have had. I went down to Arizona for a race, and like I spent like 4 days there, and every single day, including like race day, was
Hmm.
just filled with so many activities. And so on the last day, I was getting ready to come back home, and I had a full week of practice ahead of me. And I was
Hmm.
lucky enough to get access to this gym, Anytime Fitness, I think. I think it's Anytime Fitness. Shoot, I forget what it's called. Anyways, it's a three-story gym. It was amazing. I put these like recovery boots on that compress my legs.
Oh
I
yeah, yeah.
jumped on
You
a
told me about
massage.
that.
Yeah, I jumped on a massage bed, got my whole body massaged, and then went downstairs. Got in the I would jump in the cold plunge for 5 to 10 minutes. Jump in the sauna for 5 to 10 minutes. Then jump in the hot tub for 5 to 10 minutes, and then repeat that like three
Hmm.
times. And the
Yeah.
next day, like I felt completely refreshed. I
You
felt
felt fucking
amazing,
sick.
dude. I was like, I need all those like in
Well,
my house.
the thing that blew my mind when I first started reading some studies on sauna, like, yeah, it's really good for recovery. And one of the reasons is because it opens up your vascular system and allows blood
Mm-hmm.
flow to enter your muscles really well. So it allows the nutrients to get to everything. So it's easier for your body to recover. And,
Yeah.
but not only that, but like, I was, I read something in a study where basically just just getting in a sauna in general and getting into it, and not even necessarily being in it for super long or super hot, but just doing it to start with and just get into it, and you do this regularly, that it can lower your chances of having heart disease or heart attack by 80%,
Yeah. It's insane.
because it
It's
is the
great.
easiest way to basically stress your and exercise your heart by physically doing nothing.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just from the heat. It puts your body to work to be able to deal with it and function. So it puts stress on your heart without physically putting stress on you or you having to do
Mm-hmm.
anything, but it can help people with possible heart implications in a very easy way, especially if they're obese, by already, without them even necessarily having to do a whole lot, by lowering their risk of heart attack or heart disease dramatically. And I didn't
Yeah.
know that. And I was like, that is amazing, because that also runs in my family. So
It.
um,
Yeah. It's
it's something
crazy.
I'm conscious about. And
Yeah. Is
it's nuts. Like,
the stuff they have now. It's pretty cool.
and that is one thing when it comes to fitness, is like most people want like most people want the miracle drug that just makes them fit. And it's like,
Mm-hmm.
that doesn't exist. There's nothing that
Yeah.
can allow that. I gotta admit, I think for what I've heard, there is technically something David Sinclair, which is a biochemist, is working on that does something similar, but doesn't mean it's going to be guaranteed, and it's not necessarily going to make you skinny overnight. But at the same time,
I
the
don't.
main
Yeah.
thing,
There's no. There. I don't think there'll ever be something that can make you skinny overnight. Like
no, I don't
I
think
don't
so.
think
The
it's
stuff he
possible.
talked about was very, very, very interesting. And he breaks it down very well. Like, that is also a Joe Rogan episode I 100% recommend, because this man's goal in life is basically to lower the risk of aging and allow people to live a healthier life when they're older. Not necessarily extend life, but for someone to be 80 and not deal with the same impact as someone now
Mm.
that is also 80, and basically be able to still live a life of on their own and be able to feel good and not have issues and chronic issues and disease at an old age. Um, but so, like, it's like most people think that they want the magic drug, and it's not possible. But then people
Mm-mm.
hear about like steroids or taking some testosterone booster or doing this and that or sauna or whatever, and they think, oh yeah, this is, or cold plunge, whatever it is, and they're like, this is my way to losing weight or getting really
Yeah,
fit
no.
and shredded. And it's like, that's not how that works. Like
No, testosterone and
everything.
steroids is like you still have to put so much work in.
Yeah,
Like
that's
it
the
can help.
thing.
It helps,
No, it does, but
but
the whole way it helps
you,
is basically all the extra stuff is, it helps recovery. So it just
yeah, it
allows you
literally that's
to
it.
heal
Like it
faster
just it's
so you
like
can do more work.
yeah. If you're taking like if you take steroids, that just helps you get more volume in. Like
Yeah.
same with BCAAs and L-glutamine and
Mhm.
all that stuff. Those aren't steroids. And like
No,
creatine,
those
again,
yeah.
not steroids. But like stuff like that, just it just helps get more volume in.
Exactly.
Steroids is just on
It's like
another level.
someone on steroids, technically it is obviously an enhancing drug, but that
Hmm.
does not mean the person doesn't put in the work, because the
No,
only
he
way
puts in
they
more
are
work.
that big is because they bust their fucking ass. It just allows them to recover quicker. It's the same thing. Like,
Yeah,
I already probably plan on, once I get older, taking some sort of testosterone supplement. Um,
me
Once I get
too.
to a certain
Probably
point,
around
like
when
35 maybe, 35,
I was
40.
thinking 50s, like
It
60s, I would probably
I think
hop on that.
Joe Rogan started fairly young, but I guess it depends. I feel like before I'd make that decision, because in those scenarios, most of the time once you get on it, you can't necessarily go off because your
Yeah,
body will
you're
get
on
used
it.
to it.
That's why I would wait until like I would just until I
I would wait to a
absolutely had
certain
to.
point, and then I'd probably get my T levels tested and see how high
Yeah,
they are. And then if
same,
they were low, I might do it sooner. But yeah, no, I agree in
same.
that same sense. But it's like, it doesn't necessarily, it's not some like magic shit that just makes you skinny or fit. Like, it just
Mm-mm.
allows your body to handle stress and physically heal itself faster.
Mm-hmm.
And it just, like, that's what it does, so that the next day you can hit harder, or you can do the same thing again, and you don't necessarily feel like crap the next day. Like
Yeah,
I don't know, like, so
and
everybody wants
some
that
steroids
easy
are
way,
really
but it's
bad
not
for you
possible.
though.
Oh,
Like
that's true. Like,
really, really,
enlarges your
like
hearts.
the one
And
steroid a lot of bodybuilders use. I don't know what it's called, but it makes your organs expand, which is why a lot of them have a bubble gut. Um,
yeah,
and I
well,
feel like they look
you want to know what I
absolutely
just
killer.
realized?
Hmm.
I didn't think about this, but the reason that probably happens is because, think about it. Your heart is the thing. It is a muscle that is going nonstop.
Mm-hmm.
Steroids helps with recovery so
Mm-hmm.
that the muscles grow.
Mm-hmm.
That's a muscle that won't stop. So if you're on steroids, it's going to keep growing. That's why most people, that if they die from steroid use, and they have done autopsies on certain people, their hearts are like twice to three times the size that
It's
they're
terrible.
supposed to be. It's ridiculous.
It's like if you
It's like,
do it the
imagine
right
that.
way. If you do it the right way, it can be healthy. All right. Well,
Don't promote that.
I'm not going to promote it, but I'm going to say that if you do steroids in the right way, with the you have if you have enough education and you find the right steroids, the healthy steroid. I can't say healthy steroids, but the right kind of steroids, a good doctor,
There are
they
safe
can be
ways to do
helpful.
it. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, there are. I
So,
mean, that's the thing. Like, I don't know what that documentary is, but the guy that basically busted the Russian Olympic team. Um,
oh yeah,
I can't
that's a
remember what
good
that's
one.
called.
I
But
forget
it's like,
too, but it's a
there's
good one.
steroids in so many ultra athletes, and it's like, because there's a reason. And honestly, at one point, it's like, I get why it's illegal, because it's like, if you have people that are using it, and and they're playing with people that can't, or aren't,
Hmm.
obviously that's an advantage. But if everybody used it, I feel like that would just make it more interesting, because that means everybody would be at their fucking top of their game, and just make it more interesting. And
Yeah.
and
I mean,
the
you have a
records would
point.
just be even crazier.
It
But
would be it would be kind of crazy.
It would be.
Yeah,
Well, I was gonna say, like, on that topic. I mean, wasn't it with Lance Armstrong that the first
yeah.
person in that race to test negative for steroids was like number 20 or later? Like, I think
Mm-hmm.
it might have been even farther. And it's like,
Yep.
so the top 20 racers are all roided up, but he's just
They're
that
all
happens to be the one that won.
they were all on an even playing field. I feel like they were all taking stuff.
Mm-hmm. And he was still that good. Like, I feel like
That's
where
like,
they took those titles away from him and whatever is a little much. Like, it's like, I mean, I guess I get it, but it's like, if you know that all these people are doing it, you can't punish the one dude that just happened to be better than everybody else. Like,
yeah. I
really?
mean, I feel like that's a touchy subject because it's
I
like,
mean, it is,
okay,
but I
so
feel
the
like,
20 people that had the highest performance,
mm,
they were all on stuff. So what about the rest of the people? Like,
yeah,
they weren't
no.
on an even playing field. But what if the top 20 people weren't on steroids? Would they still
Hmm.
perform the same?
Yeah,
Possibly.
exactly.
Like,
Exactly. I mean, because it's like at that point, if there's 20 of the tops are already taking steroids, that means they were probably already super good without it. So
right.
then, if you give those people steroids, and then Lance Armstrong in particular still is the top out of all of them, that still means he's the best athlete, no matter what. So
It's
it
it's a
doesn't
tough.
necessarily it
It's a
doesn't change
thin
the
line
title.
because like I wouldn't want to be in an obstacle course race with a bunch of people on roids, which I don't know. In endurance racing, I don't feel
It
like
probably, I don't know.
there's not
Yeah,
many steroids out there that would really help
probably not.
in my sport, like because no one wants to be. You can't be like a giant bodybuilder and be good at OCR, and like
True.
yeah, I really don't think there's any steroids in obstacle course racing.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't want to compete against someone that was on some kind of steroid because I don't want to take steroids. I want to see
Uh, uh,
how
no,
far
that's
I can
true.
push myself in just a natural self without anything.
That's fair.
But
I feel like that's why at one point I think it'd be interesting if they had separate leagues where it's like these are the roid gang. They only take roids, and so they just go nuts. They pump themselves full of whatever the fuck it is, and they're machines.
it would be
And
cool. It would be cool to see.
that would be interesting.
I mean, technically, they already have the world's strongest man. Everybody, everybody in that sport is probably on roids. Like the
They're on
top people,
something. They're
they
definitely on
gotta be,
testosterone.
gotta
Oh, well,
be.
yeah.
To be that
All
like
those guys are
over six
definitely
foot
taking
and
testosterone.
put that much muscle on, gotta be.
Oh, that's ridiculous. Well, um, I guess on that note, I think we're gonna probably call it. I mean, I
I
think we
think
had a really
so.
good podcast though.
I think
Um,
yeah, that was a really good conversation.
honestly, really good. I liked it a lot. But I hope everybody else enjoyed as much as we did.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I appreciate everybody's support. I mean, we are on, oh man, 230 views on YouTube. So I mean, go check it out. Posting every day, clips, videos. Go like and subscribe. Follow us on Instagram at Barbells and Trails Podcast.
Mm-hmm.
Um, follow us on Anchor. Listen to us wherever you can on any podcast websites that are available.
Listen to us on all of them, all at
Yeah,
once.
honestly, run up the plays. Listen to it over and over again.
Yes.
Um,
Yes.
share with your friends. Word of mouth is very useful, and we
Mm-hmm.
appreciate it. I mean, we got listeners from a little bit of everywhere. We have more people from different states, which I find awesome. Um, so if you do listen to it, we definitely appreciate it, and we're still learning, growing as this goes, and there's definitely stuff we
Yes.
want to do down the road that will just become a learning process for us as much
Hmm.
as it is for you guys going along this journey with us. But if you guys do want to show your support, just follow and subscribe, and we appreciate it, and that's all we can ask for.
Yep. Thank you guys
But
for listening. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram at Barbells and Trails. Um, we should be posting on there more often.
yeah, I gotta
In the
work on
next
that.
week. On the next week, we should be posting more often because I'll be out of school. I'll have a bit more time on my hands. So let us know what you would like to see on our Instagram. If you would like to see just clips from the
Hmm.
podcast or just different
Well,
updates from us.
yeah.
So
Well, we're gonna
yeah,
work on that for you guys because we know we've been
yeah,
slacking. But definitely check out the YouTube, posting every day. So there's
definitely.
always stuff coming out for you guys. But we appreciate all the support, and we'll see you guys all in the next one.
See you guys.